Eagles and Chiefs. Are those your two teams to go to the Super Bowl?
No, I want Bills and Commanders.
Who would you want out of that?
Commanders.
Okay.
Commanders.
All right.
Dude, imagine Washington winning the Super Bowl this year. After all the shit that they've been in the last however many years.
Selling the team, all the scandals going on, how bad they've been. They haven't been to a playoff game since 2015.
Yeah, it's like a new organization, new staff, new players. Like
Right.
it's what they've done in 1 year is nothing short of incredible.
No rookie's gone to the Super Bowl, right?
No rookie has gone to the Super Bowl. Is that a real stat?
I believe so.
And Jayden Daniels is so good.
Bro, smooth.
And, dude,
Always confident, all of it.
the journey of Dan Quinn, like he was hated in Atlanta. And everybody was like, this dude is not a head coach. He's only a defensive coordinator. Seattle's the only good thing he did. And then now took the Commanders to conference championship.
And they love him.
Backwards
Just
hat Dan.
The couple connections I still have inside the building in Washington, they love Dan Quinn. Like from chefs to the cleaning ladies, everybody loves him. And the great thing, it's like I'm so happy for those people in that building because when you win in the playoffs, like you get bonus checks, like you get playoff checks. And so my boy Chad Englehart, who's been a strength coach there, he's been with that organization for 14 or 15 years. For him to taste what like the Chiefs get every year inside that building, the Patriots, what they got for their strength staff, like the people that work in the facility also get bonus checks for advancing in the playoffs. So I'm so fired up for the Washington Commanders right now. The fact that they've made it to this point, like upsetting arguably the best team in the NFL in the Detroit Lions at Detroit, is crazy.
Is that all the way down to like equipment staff as well?
I think everybody gets a bonus.
I think
Everyone
equipment
gets a bonus.
staff, yeah. Training staff.
The equipment staff, if the Commanders are doing it correctly, the equipment staff should have gotten taken care of by the players. Because they usually
the Christmas
do
bonuses.
Christmas bonuses. They should, and usually the equipment staff and the trainers kind of get the most of that.
Strength
the bulk
staff,
of that.
yeah.
This is crazy for Jayden Daniels. This is from Kyle Brandt. Rookie QBs to start a title game and where their team's scoring defense is ranked. Brock Purdy first, Mark Sanchez third, Joe Flacco third, Roethlisberger first, Sean King third, Jayden Daniels 18th.
Yeah, man.
Just crazy.
So
and
it's
that
like on him.
defense turned it on when it came to
In a
turnovers
big
yesterday.
way. In a big way. God.
Just had no fear, bro.
They really didn't. The Lions had so many weapons on the field. Gibbs was going all over the place. Like, it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
It was incredible to watch. And dude, the poise of Jayden Daniels, like I just touched on it a little bit, but the dude, to be in the position he is as a rookie, learning a little bit about his story, being at ASU, he transfers to LSU, wins the Heisman. But when he's transferring out of ASU, that viral video that took place, they're like, yeah, fuck you, get out of here, you piece of shit. All that. All that. Yeah, and he has just handled business. No one really talked about him in the draft. Yeah, he's taken really high, but like there was Caleb Williams' draft. Nobody was really thinking about Jayden Daniels. He was an afterthought. And for him to take these guys to the NFC Championship and not only take a team to the NFC Championship, but take a team that has been struggling and hurting for so long from the top down is as cool as it gets.
They haven't been to an NFC Championship in 33 years.
I think Russ Grimm was on the football team
Yeah.
when they went to a championship. How nuts is that? Shout out Russ Grimm, by the way. One of the greatest coaches I've ever had in my entire life.
Dan Orlovsky called it too. They resurfaced a video before. He was like, if I'm the Chicago Bears, I would look at Jayden Daniels.
Yeah, I saw that.
And here we are. I bet the Chicago Bears do want Jayden Daniels.
And you just see him sitting on the sideline too. It just looks like there's ice in his veins, like as he's calmly sitting there. Because again, you're up on Detroit. I think they were up 10 on them at halftime, and you're sitting there like, okay, Detroit's probably going to come back.
Time for them to
Even
turn
when
on.
there's 5 or 4 minutes left in the game and they're down by 2 scores, you're thinking, all right, how is Detroit going to make this happen?
Even the announcers, when they were talking about it, they're like, you got to feel like time's running out just a little bit for the Lions. And you're thinking any other football team, you're like, they're done. They're dead.
over.
It's
Yeah.
over. But truly, no one believed the Lions were going to lose that game until the clock struck 0.
Yeah.
It is nuts, man.
And as happy as I am for Washington, I felt terrible for Detroit.
Especially that woman that showed us around in Detroit.
Yeah.
God.
You just know the fans, you know, Dan Campbell, like
Aiden Hutchinson.
they have a great staff. They have players, they have leaders, they have culture. They have everything that was ready to go to the Super Bowl
And
this year.
Jared Goff is such a great dude, too. Obviously, having him on the show and the game he played yesterday, you know, he's just kicking himself for all of that, dude. It's tough. It is. And then who knows what's going to happen to the Lions if this? People are saying Ben Johnson is as good as gone.
Aaron Glenn,
Yeah.
Ben Johnson, they've been doing interviews for head coaching jobs. So
And
they
so-
could be gone. You just don't know. Like, man, when you get to the playoffs, like these opportunities are it's so massive to take
Yeah.
advantage of.
I was
and,
listening.
and Washington's dangerous, bro.
They are dangerous. But the thing that scares me a little bit is that defense being 18th. They're playing with their hair on fire right now, but it is nuts what Jayden Daniels is able to accomplish with a defense that is not in the top 10, top 5 of the NFL.
But
That's what you usually
Yeah,
see.
but you know it, bro. Like, making it to the NFC Championship, whether or not you were a bottom tier defense throughout most of the year, like catching some fire in the playoffs, like having no fear going out there and taking down the Lions,
Right.
beating the Bucks, who everybody picked the Bucks, beating the Lions, everybody picked the Lions. Like, you're sitting there, you just have a boulder on your shoulder. You're like, you're ready to go. You're like anywhere, any place, anytime.
And you're in a brand new week where everyone's going to be picking the Eagles. And it's like you just continue to be the underdog after just being the best team in the NFL by 2 scores. I hope it happens for them.
Yeah.
I
I
think
hope
they
it
can
does.
take down the Eagles, bro.
But
But to me, it's the Eagles are clearly the better team than the Rams. Rams had some life; they could have upset them, like all that stuff.
I think that weather really big.
Yeah, but Washington was sitting there before the game, wanting the Eagles to win because they're like, we want the fucking
want
Eagles
them.
in the NFC Championship.
Absolutely.
we want the in division rivalry in the NFC Championship.
That is
give us
just
the best
awesome.
team.
Give us the best team.
Last crazy Jayden Daniels stat. In NFL history, there has been 3 instances of teams having 0 turnovers and 0 punts in a game behind a rookie starting QB. All 3 were by Jayden Daniels. He did it in week 2, week 3, and then last night.
Leave, man.
Special.
No turnovers, no punts.
Special.
And Cliff Kingsbury, him as the OC, they like those two were just made for each other.
Dude,
in that
had a little
offense.
time off with went to the Cardinals, had a little time off in Taiwan for a little bit, took himself a year and a half. Now he's back,
Yeah.
rejuvenated, back in the saddle. Probably took some ayahuasca. Probably decided to
Probably
go on a
went
little bit of a journey
ayahuasca
of his
trip.
own. But having a guy like Kingsbury who understands that type of offense to put Jayden Daniels in, it's perfect, dude. And the way they're utilizing Austin Eckler too. Like he was awesome. I had him in one of my parlays. He had to be over 25 yards receiving. The first drive, he catches a screen or like one of those little toss out bubble passes for 24 yards. And Jayden Daniels does an incredible job looking at the defense, looking at his first read, his second read, finding the check down, getting out of harm's way, not taking insane hits. He's not as great as Lamar is in that sense we saw in the game against the Bucks. But the kid just has he's got his wits about him.
Mm-hmm.
He just understands it. You would love to see it. You would love to see them go all the way.
They have the right mix of vets. You were
Right.
talking Eckler, you got Ertz, you got Bobby Wagner,
Yeah. Bobby Wagner.
Scary Terry.
who was a menace also.
Yeah.
My one buddy said that when like Jayden Daniels is what Cliff Kingsbury wanted Kyler Murray to be when he drafted him in Arizona.
Well, for sure. I mean, look at Jayden Daniels, bro.
Yeah.
But like they're kind of similar in like
Right.
their what they can do, but Jayden Daniels is just like cool, calm, and collected. And can
God, I
do
hope
everything.
Jayden can sustain this type of success. That would be so elite because I would hate it for Washington fans. If something horrible were to happen, we're not even going to go into the details of it, but the history essentially repeating itself would suck.
Yeah.
Would be shitty.
But if you're in that building and you got number 5, Jayden Daniels in there, you got to be feeling good about staying put with your family for the next decade.
Yeah.
You know what I
You're
mean?
going home to your family being like, go ahead. Yep, we'll buy that house
Yeah.
actually because we're going to be here.
Yeah, we have a quarterback.
Yeah, if you have a quarterback, you're solid.
Yeah.
I did see, I don't know who was talking about this. I'll have to remember it and then maybe tweet it out later because I don't want to take someone's information. But they were talking about all of the vacant head coaching jobs. And the best one was the Patriots. Having a guy like Drake May, you think you got a guy in that. Mike Vrabel obviously gets that job. He was the best candidate, and that was essentially the best team to kind of take over in that instance. The other teams that are vacant right now, the Bears can't find a way to win. The Jets are having a hard time. The Raiders, have an owner that has been reported that he like yells at assistant coaches on the plane, like very, very
Impatient.
short term.
Yeah.
Yeah, very impatient. The New Orleans Saints, you don't know what's really going on there. The Cowboys, it's like the offensive line is a little bit older. Dak Prescott, is he who are the haters kind of right in that instance right now? Jacksonville, it's a really tough place to go and try to revamp a franchise with these teams being your choice if you're a head coach candidate or a top head coach candidate like Ben Johnson. There might be a world if I'm Ben Johnson of being like, there might be better head coaching opportunities next year, and you've got a hell of an offense coming back for you in the Lions. Why not just stay one more year? Why not stay and win a great opportunity? Because you once you get a head coaching job, you can revive it. Like Vrabel did a great job with that for a while. Was it McDermott and the Bills? He did a great job with that. But like very rarely you see a head coach come into a struggling franchise and be able to turn it around. Why not wait for maybe a historic, franchise to kind of have a little bit of a turnover, like a Matt LaFleur did when he had the Packers with Aaron Rodgers.
If Steelers do the same thing next year, if the Steelers go out,
the Steelers, they're in a weird position because the Steelers are kind of only doing this. They're kind of on that down slide right now where we could see them not making the playoffs next year. That division's stronger. You might live in a place as one of the OCs if you're Ben Johnson, looking at a team like the Bengals, where that vacancy might be there if it continues to have those struggles. You don't make the playoffs, and you got a guy like Joe Burrow, who his only real knock is the injuries that have taken place for him.
Yeah.
So there's a nice little couple of maybes ripping around.
You saw
you stay is what I'm saying, Ben.
You saw the local boy Eddie George. He interviewed for the Bears job.
Yeah, the Bears are kind of interviewing like everybody right now.
Yeah, I heard they had one in. They wanted to with Marcus Freeman. There was rumors of them trading for Mike Tomlin. Bears are probably trying to do everything. Dude, I would love to see, I'll just say this, I would love to see Deion Sanders be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah.
That would be awesome.
I would love it.
That would be a very Cowboys thing to do as well. Like of all the franchises, that is where you see that happen.
I mean, think about it too. He had all his success. He had a lot of his successes with the Cowboys, also the 49ers. But even Atlanta, can't sleep on Atlanta.
Sleep on Atlanta.
Going back to Dallas, Deion going back to Dallas, you got Vrabel going to the Patriots. You have all these old players kind of coaching their old teams.
That's awesome.
That would be sick.
That would be awesome to see.
Deion Sanders with Jerry Jones.
I was just about to say, his personality type is maybe the only one that could really kind of stand up to Jerry and kind of put up with
that or blow up in 6 months.
Or
might be the only time Jerry turns around and fires a coach early instead of late.
But Jerry does love him. I mean, obviously for the past, but like he personally does love Deion. So maybe it, match made in heaven.
Right, like a personality like that, Deion would be the only guy that Jerry would consider because they know each other so well. That one would be sick.
A lot of interesting things happening. A lot.
How about the Eagles and Rams? How about that snow? We were just talking about the Commanders. They're playing the Eagles next week. Like that snow game, dude. All the football games this weekend with the cold weather outside of Detroit, but just having the elements kind of affect the game because it did for the Eagles. I mean, their defense kind of bailed them out in a lot of situations. Saquon Barkley's a fucking menace, bro.
A menace.
Jalen Carter. Zach Bond.
Dude,
Zach Bond is
the one series Zach Bond had was maybe the greatest series for a linebacker ever.
And he had that TFL and then tipped the pass.
And then I think he got a sack next. Yeah. It just crazy, dude.
Did y'all see Jalen Carter went up to Jared Verse before the game, and then obviously he was like trying to bet on the game.
Yeah, put your check on it. Put your playoff check on it.
And you just hear Verse, but I'll keep that 77 for next week.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn. But yeah, Jalen Carter.
Verse was going off too.
Yeah,
bro.
I mean,
he was making a lot of plays.
Jalen Carter is really him. You cannot block him one-on-one right now. I mean, they put up a nice little stat, I think, on like 15 pass snaps. When they slid to him, no pressures. They had a double team on him. They had a center guard on him. On the 8 snaps he had where he was one-on-one, he had a sack, like 3 pressures, and a couple of hits. Like he is one of those guys where it's like we have a big problem here. And Verse as well. I mean, he only had 4.5 sacks this year, but the guy, the way he operates on the field, he is going to do this. Khalil Mack, how many sacks did he have his rookie year for the Raiders? 4.5.
They have him winning the defensive rookie of the year.
Yeah, I mean, he's a stud.
And then A.J. Brown, he might actually be locked in. You saw what whip he pulled up in.
Yeah, the
Chevy?
Honda Accord.
No, the Honda Accord.
He might be locked in. What's the name of the book? Inner Excellence.
You see the guy walking out holding the flag? He was holding the book in the air.
Yeah, he was holding the book with it. Those sales, are through the roof.
Yeah.
And Gilly.
But the Rams, bro.
You gotta love Gilly.
You got to think if the weather is a little more clear, the Rams might win that game. There's so many plays where the ball is bouncing off guys' hands, bouncing off their chest. Puka Nacua, one off the top of my head, it was like a 3rd and 8. Gets great separation on an out right at the sideline, through his hands, bounce off the ground. It's just you got to be punching the air right now. And Sean McVay, dude, they're coaching because from a talent standpoint, you're looking at Eagles. Eagles are up here. Rams are kind of down here. They're missing, Eagles might be missing one guy if they don't do it this year. Rams are missing 4 or 5 guys to really be like, okay, this is a talented roster that you can win a Super Bowl with. The coaching and the understand, and then obviously Matthew Stafford. Those are the 2 things, the 2 keys that kept them in this game. And if the weather was clear, we could be looking at Rams Commanders in the NFC Championship. But that run game, because the thing that kind of threw me off a little bit was with the weather the way it was, they had 2 explosive plays early in the game, and then the Rams kind of showed up in a big way. They started to get more exotic with their blitzes. They started to only rush 3 or 4, not bringing blitzes sometimes. They were less predictable in their calling. And the Eagles kind of couldn't figure it out from a rushing standpoint.
Yeah, and then Kyron had that.
Takes the safety. Hurts gets hurt in the middle of it. So there's like a lot of different variables that the snow helped them out a lot with.
But even in that first game too, it's like once you get to that second half, the Eagles have such a roster for the second half because they can lean on you. They run the ball more effectively in the second half.
Right. Do you see the picture of Lane Johnson?
I don't know.
So Lane Johnson had a photo of stats, side-by-side stats between him and Penei Sewell, because Penei Sewell got first team all right tackle. And it was like, the stats, if they are correct, were completely lopsided towards Lane Johnson.
Oh, really?
You have to pull it up because I don't want to butcher it, but it was like passer win rate, sacks given up, pressures, run blocking, all these things. Yeah, sacks allowed, Lane Johnson 0, Penei 1. Pressures allowed, 6 for Lane, 25 for Penei. Quarterback hits, 1-5. It's just all these stats are in the favor of Lane Johnson. And you see this, like that is the ultimate athlete. That's that Michael Jordan type of mentality where something doesn't go your way. And it's like, fuck it, I'm taking this personal.
Yeah.
Because the Lions, like, there is a lot of like bias towards teams that are surging and have a lot of the media behind them. You look at 2016 with the Titans, we were 2-14 14, 3-13, and then 2016 we go 9-7. Kind of have that surge of success. We had 9 guys make the Pro Bowl. Your boy was included, so maybe I got myself a little bump there. Maybe I wasn't as good as people thought, but we got it, right? So there's, it'll be interesting to see that play out for Lane and have him talk about it a little bit. I'd love to get him on the show and talk about that.
Yeah.